Vice President Kamala Harris raising a few eyebrows with a comment she made about guns during a live-streamed event with Oprah Winfrey.
You said you have guns. No, at the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Harris highlighted during the recent presidential debate that she was a gun owner, but still supported a ban on assault weapons. And joining me now is Eric Ham, CTV News political analyst. Eric, good to see you. Now, Harris was highlighting her gun ownership and her comments raising some eyebrows for sure. Your reaction?
It sounds like she's going directly after the MAGA NRA, National Rifle Association vote with that comment. It's certainly going to get a lot of play, certainly raise a lot of eyebrows. And I think what it makes clear is that this is an election that not only has had so many twists and turns, but what was up is now down, what was left is now right.
Is this something that could be held against her by, say, Republicans looking to spin a narrative?
I'm not sure if that is going to be the case because clearly Donald Trump certainly won't be able to take advantage of it. But it will, I think, perhaps be seen as something that maybe liberals or those that want to see more gun control could have a problem with.
So do you think it will be a positive or negative on her campaign?
Look, I think what we're seeing here is right now, given that Kamala Harris is not going to get another debate with Donald Trump, she is still trying to find that breakout moment. And I think she used this opportunity for her sit down with Oprah Winfrey as what she was hoping could be that moment. Going into this sit down with Oprah Winfrey, the campaign did not think this was going to be a viral moment. And so I think what we're seeing here from Kamala Harris, with less than 50 days until voters head to the polls, they're still trying to find a way to create greater separation between herself and Donald Trump. And she was using this as an opportunity to do so.
Now on to some comments made by Harris's rival, Donald Trump, saying that Jewish voters will carry some of the blame if he loses. So what is the context behind why he would say that?
Again, what we're seeing from Donald Trump is trying to make this a turnout election. And while that is, again, like Kamala Harris's comments, is going to certainly raise eyebrows, and we know the Jewish vote is, though not as large as some other demographics, it is extremely influential. Donald Trump is trying to still excite his MAGA base of voters. He's not necessarily growing his base, particularly with a comment like that. But what he is attempting to do is trying to excite his base and make this a base election. MAGA voters versus Democratic base voters. And Donald Trump thinks that he can actually win with a race like that.
He has been struggling with Jewish voters in earlier campaigns. Will this just eliminate all possibilities of gaining more Jewish voters?
I think Donald Trump has been actually subtracting the base of potential voters that he could actually bring to his side for quite some time now. We have already begun to see a number of influential Republicans who have left the MAGA party or the Republican Party to endorse Kamala Harris. Now we're seeing Donald Trump begin to alienate Jewish voters, and perhaps we've already begun to see, particularly in a state like Texas, where Latino voters are moving to the Democratic candidate who's running to unseat an incumbent Republican senator. And so I think what we're seeing with Donald Trump continuing on this path, it's only making it that much more difficult for him to grow his base, which would be a potential way to win this election as he continues to alienate Jewish voters, women, Latinos, and others.
All right, that is our time. Eric, thank you very much for being here with us, as always.
Thank you.
Eric.